What do we know about how this might work, this particular app?
Well, it's hard to know. I think what's been proposed here is that the app would somehow be used by parties to say, look, if we have sex, it's consensual. The difficulty with it, of course, is that consent can be withdrawn. Somebody might be pressured into using the app. And of course, technology is not foolproof and the app may not work. People may not have their phones. There's just a whole range of issues to say that talk about this as being some form of solution. I think it would be of extremely limited value.
So other problems, I suppose, people could be forced to use the app, coerced, it just adds another grey area, and afterwards say, well, I just wanted to press the button and then, hoped I could, leave later that night without going through with it. Forced. And also, I suppose, what are you consenting to?
Well, that's the point. You've encapsulated the problem. And I think it's troubling that the police commissioner would float such an idea in public, given that it has been picked up now by the media, rightly so, and scrutinised. And I think you need to think again. This is a multifaceted issue, as we would agree with what the Premier of New South Wales said. It's about cultural change. The law can't fix the issue of consent. What the law can do is help people understand the parameters of consent, but it's a cultural issue. No amount of technology is going to change that. So it's not an idea that bears any real merit, and it has serious problems when it comes to its value in any later dispute about whether or not there was consent.
It seems to be a pretty broad reaction. There's also the one in Denmark that has actually been launched, and you get consent for 24 hours. So that seems to open up a whole range of other issues. Okay, so if we assume Mick Fuller, had the right intentions here and thought we're having a real problem with consent, what's an alternative approach?
Well, the approach really is education. In the same way that we're seeking to educate people about family violence, we seek to educate people about racism, we've got to teach people about consent. In other words, educational tools, cultural tools, the way we bring up our kids, these are the mechanisms. There are no simple solutions here. And the law has a role, but it is not the law that can fix this. This is a cultural issue, but we've done it in other areas of our society. We have reduced, for example, racism. We are reducing family violence through greater measures and greater education. We can do the same here with consent.
And so essentially you're saying it's not easy. Is the other approach to this, we're talking about the prevention, I suppose after that in the legal sense of court cases, such a low conviction rate, is that purely a product of needing guilt beyond reasonable doubt? Is there an option for, as has been proposed by some, not necessarily always pursuing criminal action, but something else where a victim feels as though they get recognition for what happened without that very high burden, or does that carry issues as well?
No, look, we support that's what you're talking about here is restorative justice, where people who participate in restorative justice, the victims, but also defendants, get better outcomes. For victims, they get an opportunity to directly confront the perpetrator or indirectly if they wish to. And of course, for defendants, they are more inclined to participate because the penalties will be reduced as a result, as they should be. So we've got to look at ways in which we can get people to reconcile with what has happened, but do it in a way where you've got incentives for both parties. One of the reasons for low convictions, and one of the reasons why so many sexual assault cases go to pleas of not guilty into trial, is because the jail terms are so high. Many defendants just think, look, I'm going to roll the dice. Maybe I'll win. So we've got to look at and have that conversation about how we penalise those people if they participate, for example, in a restorative justice process, and therefore saving the victim of going through a court procedure.
But obviously you have an issue there of not wanting people to, have anything too lenient or discourage the very serious cases. So always issues. Look, Greg, great to get your thoughts today. Thank you.
Thank you.